So we're scraping off all the junk that I didn't scrape off earlier.
That's right. Shut the camera off while we're doing that.
Yeah.
What about this stuff just over here? Keeps the block from going all the way down.
I might want to get that.
Maybe. It's going to be hard to get in there with a rag in the middle. Look at that. Somebody didn't clean that either. Probably the same guy didn't clean the rest of it.
Yep.
It was?
Pretty sure.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Look at that. Crap. Guess what?
What?
There's more of it on this side. See, you're rushing me so much I didn't do my job either. So you made me screw up. So I didn't double check you. So now it's all my fault, I bet, right?
No, it's nobody. It's mine.
Look at all this crap in here. See, if you put new O-rings in there, you wouldn't have all this crap in there. All right, you happy now?
Yep.
I'm not. Confused you didn't do this surface either. And you're getting lazy. Okay. I got junk all on my bench now. Put it on my clean bench. So filthy now. Look at all the crap everywhere. Jeez. Feel it. Alright. I'm gonna need, I guess, right here. What's this?
Gasket. That's your sealer board.
Gasket board. We do our gaskets at.
Goopy goop.
Why do I call it a gasket board?
Because that's where you do all your gaskets on it.
There you go. How many layers are on there?
Thousands.
Ew.
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 Oh. I'm being a dumbass. It's on the wrong side. You almost caught me screwing up.
Almost. I was going to let you screw up.
I recovered though.
Yep.
I figured it out. Took me a while, but I figured it out. Okay. How's that surface?
Filthy.
Filthy. Gino had it. Did you find that good scraper and scrape it?
I'm not touching it.
Go for it, Gino.
I'm only allowed to hand it to other people.
That's right.
You're the cameraman.
Yep.
You got a very important job. There's a bad burr on it right there.
Uh-oh.
Oh, what are we gonna do now?
To live with it. Or file it. You know where the oil pump goes? See, when you put the goop on, you don't goop where the oil pump gears go. That'd be here.
Yeah, you don't do that.
Pretty stuck, look at that.
Bingo.
Where's the burr?
Yeah, just right down there.
Walker dropped it. Ooh, that was a big burr.
Timber.
Or a Jim's burr.
What are you messing with Jim again?
He liked it. I already gooped that up. I did not goop this up yet though.
Goop and goopy goopies.
Yep. Lots of goop. And you want to be using little thin brown paper gaskets, not black ones here. You know why?
Why?
Because these are thinner. So you don't lose oil pressure as much. See, the thicker the gasket is, the more bypass the gears have, 'cause you got more gear in play.
Mm.
So you want to keep the gasket thin so you have minimum gear in play. Which means more oil pressure. And we have such an overabundance of oil pressure in an Ironhead that we don't care about that, right?
Correct.
Okay, where's that key that you lost? Right there? Is that the one?
That little guy right there.
Put a little bit of oil in here. Like that. All right. Now once it sticks together, you try not to break it free because it
Can rip the gaskets.
will get oil and shit on the gasket surface. Okay, so you put the idler one in there first. You have some burrs on that. There it goes. See how it pops in?
Mm-hmm.
It would not turn it until it popped in. Now this one here has two slots in it, which coincide with a roll pin to stand in there. See it pops in there?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now we gotta get the key in here, so we're gonna turn that a little bit so you get the key to line up. So now this goes in here like that. You have to get it passed through that seal. You gotta get the gear to line up. Why is that not going down all the way? Because the roll pin moved on me. And put a bolt in there just to keep it kind of centered so it doesn't keep rotating. Okay, now you gotta put the key in the shaft in here. Rotate around till you go in. So I need a pair of pliers to do that. That's gone. Fat fingers wouldn't hold it in there. Appears you lost your key.
No, it's right there.
You lost it. It's lost in the oil supply. You didn't see that?
Mm-hmm.
There it goes. Didn't want to slip in. Okay, put a little bit more oil in there. The one with the key slot.
It's the one that you put in there.
Look at the wear mark on that one.
It's a good one.
I don't know about that, but it's got a wear mark. If you do it just right, it goes right in, see?
Perfect.
Then we got the new clip.
Look at the difference there.
It's not spread a 1/4 inch apart. Find the sharp edge. That's the sharp edge. That's the sharp edge. That one's pretty even. This one's pretty even. But I think that's the sharp edge. Sharp edge goes out so it digs into the shaft better. You don't want to expand this any more than you have to put it on. See the keys over here, so we're 180 from over that side. See, it's all in there, it's in the groove. So good and tight. Put some oil over here for lubricant. It also primes the gears a little bit. Slip it across.
Look at that.
Take your screw, take the bolt out. Take your cover. Try not to screw the gasket up on the other side when you do that. See, its gasket's overlapping the hole a little bit, so it doesn't want to go in. There it goes. Okay, now, on early motors, there's a screen that goes in here. On late ones, they don't use it because they figured they didn't need it anymore. They didn't care if the motors blew up. There it goes. You don't go quite all the way because you want the gasket to stick to the cover. Get all your bolts started. You can Loctite these if you want, but I usually don't do it. They don't usually come loose. Except for you.
Yeah, they might come loose.
Good. Okay, after those are all started, then you push it all the way up. Now, if you have to beat that in with a hammer, it's probably too tight. So I start with the middle. Don't go quite all the way in. Okay, we have a little bit of movement usually on these. So as you kind of center them up, that way you got room to get the oil on here, you got some room to get that nut off over there. Pick some kind of a crisscross pattern that you like. And you go for torque. How much torque was that?
I didn't hear your elbow pop, so it's not 250 foot-pounds.
Okay. Now, if you're lucky, this oil pump will turn now. If you're unlucky, you'll have to take it back apart again. There's the gears over here. Okay, here's your oil pump gear. No marking. So this has a recessed here. This is flat. So you want to make sure you get a recess so it doesn't hit against the radius down in here. That way it can go all the way in if it has to, even though it doesn't really matter. Now this is an early bike, so you have a different splines. So you get a fat one here, and you got 3 equal ones. And if you match the gear up, see they match. See how they go on? You don't go on like that. See? No. Oh, there's the one. So don't beat it on with a big hammer. Now if you rotate the motor backwards, it'll engage the gear. See the pump is turning.
And that's good.
Okay, it freed up after it went through about 2 turns. There's probably a little bit of residue of sealer and whatever else down below, gasket maybe overhang, who knows. It has to eat itself in. So now it turns pretty free, so that's what you want to see, where it's not locking up. Okay, now you want to lubricate these gears so they got oil on them before the motor starts. Otherwise you could have some issues with oil pump gear wear, which I'm sure you'll be alright with, but everybody else might not like that.
Nice and smooth.
Yeah. Okay, now we got to time this thing. You know how to time it?
We have to make sure that all the lines match up, and you have that line right there. So now we're going to put in the cams.
Wrong.
No?
We're doing oil pump timing.
So how do you...
These early motors, there's a breather in here. The breather has to be timed for the piston going up and down, so you have to time it. So you have to go with the crank over here and time it. And there's also a mark over here.
Oh, there it is.
See that hole right there?
Yep.
That's your timing mark. So you want to get that where you can get to it. Now you want the crank to be at timing mark, which on this mark is a line. Right there. Which on our bike is pretty close to the top dead center on the rear cylinder. Because it's 40-45 degrees of timing. So now I usually just hold my screwdriver over there, and then I push this thing in here, or attempt to engage it, and see where it comes in at. And see where we lined up past. We got a big gap, so we're off by a little bit. So I'll give it a couple more teeth, come back into it. There we go. So, see the hole? See we're halfway back.
Yeah, I see it right there in the middle.
Now this gear is going to sit out here a little ways. So we're going to be about that far off, so we're 1 tooth off. So we pull this back out. Rotate it 1 tooth. Bring this one back in. Pull out just a little bit, and you see where you're at. So now we're half a hole the other way, see? So we're halfway between 2 things. Okay, so now we got backlash in the teeth here, see? So now we look at where our rod is relative to where we're turning it. So it's going to be way over here, so you're going to be like half a tooth off. Now this here will go on here. You're supposed to have a 300th gap between here and here to where this is going to sit, because that dictates where the oil pump drop gear sits. See, there's all kinds of stuff going on here.
There is.
I just plug and play like a new bike. So you want to measure right here and see if there's 300 offset. So what do you got? Turn your light on, look up there. The light is on. What's your number? Is it 300? No, it's about 350.
Yep.
If you can't read it, you go like this. Put your thumb next to it and come out. There's actually more about here because my thumb overlapped it a little bit. Now we got to see where our gear is at. See, this gear might not be all the way to the inside right now.
Yeah.
See, there's a gap back there.
Yeah, there's a gap.
So this is not going to sit there. It's going to actually sit more like over there. So now you come back and measure your gap over here again. And see, now you're closer to 300. You're still not quite 3, but you're close. 300 is about right there. But there's going to be a gasket in here too. But so this is going to sit about right in this area here. Now it's also, if you look at it, it's pretty close to being flush with this, but not quite. Kind of cheat the numbers if you want to look at them. Okay, so what I want to look at right now is how much of a gap we get on the back side. Because right now our timing's off by that much. So now we know about where our gear is going to sit. Motor turns forward, see? So that's about our timing marks about right there, right? So So that's about where our hole is going to be. Now if it sat out a little bit further, it'd be better for us.
So that's why we put in.
If you want to go through the effort, you can actually take this gear and cut it
Mm.
about that much off of it, and that would allow the gear to come out to be timed correctly. Or you narrow that gear up. It's easier to cut this lip off.
Okay.
That's if you gave a shit. You also have to look at your oil pump bushing over here, because this surface here is going to dictate how far that gear comes out, because that gear is going to be pushing against here, because the drag of that oil pump shoves the gear outward,
Yeah.
which pushes this out. So if this is not a beat on the tight fit, it'll slide to the outside and you know this bushing. Not wrong bushing. And you see your 300 thou gap right there? It's actually more like about 330.
Mhm.
And then the gasket's going to be another 20. So we're going to be about 350 is where it's actually going to sit. So 350 is going to bring this mark more to like where it is right now, or maybe just slightly out, which will help us.
Okay, cool.
So we're in the spot where it's going to kind of run at. But it might come out just a little bit more to help us. So even though it's not perfect, it's mostly in the slot.
Cool.
So that's how you tell. Now right now we're not sure where our timing mark is over here, because we didn't put our line back over here, but timing mark's right there. So if we back this up a little bit, come around to the mark. Here's my mark. Shove that thing in all the way, come out just a little bit. Then we got backlash in our gear teeth. So we're coming about right there. So we're about a third of a hole off, which is about normal. Rarely do they line up, so but we're in the right general area. So that's how that's timed. Okay, now you got to put this thing on. Same thing, you got to put the fat mark on top. So that goes on there. So how hard is this going to go on there?
Pretty hard.
It's not a slip fit. So that means we get to beat it on with a hammer. What's that do to your crank screwing?
Fucks it up.
Yeah, it's not good for it. Now there's a special tool that goes in here that will push it on that I never use. So I use a big socket. Lots of slow tapping. This is going on pretty nicely actually. Now, who tightened this crank up? And how tight did I do it?
Perfectly tight.
Like double what you're supposed to. So it takes a lot to move the crank. That's why I can beat them on. If you had factory torque on it, you probably shouldn't be doing that. Okay, so right now we are just past 300. So we have this much clearance in here. See?
Clearance, clearance.
So right now this gear will probably come out slightly over time.
Mm-hmm.
But right now it's not going to be dragging on our cover right now. Because you don't want to have this a tight fit and then jam the cover on.
Yeah.
Because then it will have to eat that bushing away.
And then you got metal in your.
Right. It's better going just a little bit too much. Get down close to your 300 number, 320,
Mm-hmm.
and then because we measured it, remember?
Yep.
And then that way the gasket will be your clearance. You know, if it wants to come out on its own and rub against it, that's all right because it'll have oil on it at that time.
Yeah.
It'll be like floating. But if it's going to be a press-on fit, you don't want it to be push-on because it just tears everything all up.
Okie dokie.
So now you can do your checking here. Because now we got the gear on, it's going to stay put. So now we go to our mark. That went fast. I'm not catching the mark here.
There it is.
You can see we're still about the same spot, about 3/4 of the hole, a third of the hole off.
Mm-hmm.
So that's about where it's going to be. Okay, so that's the only time you use that timing mark for doing anything on this side. And that's only on your 76 and earlier motors. The late ones, you just plug it up and there's no breather. Okay, so now we need something we're going to lay this against. What's this?
Oh, not a tool yet.
Piece of metal. Adjustable. There we go. It rolls too, look at that. Might get us in trouble real quick. Okay, so now I gotta install all of this stuff. There's crap everywhere. Okay, let's take a break. We get some shims and stuff right now.